You're watching the Skywatch Media News Channel, and here's what's happening for the first week of December 2018. On the morning of November the 11th, a bizarre and unexplained rumble rolled around the world. The wave began just off the shores of the French island of Mammoth, located at the northern tip of Madagascar. The waves quickly spread across the African continent and across the vast oceans of the Atlantic and then onto the Pacific. The mysterious waves rang for more than 20 minutes around the world, and yet not a single human felt it. But there was one individual who noticed the strange zigzag signal displayed on the USGS real-time seismogram, and they commenced to post it on their Twitter account. The actions of one observer created its own ripple effect, as researchers from around the world tried to explain the unexplainable. As the wave progressed across Africa, a seismologist at Columbia University who specializes in unusual earthquakes had this to say. In a normal earthquake, the built-up tensions in Earth's crust release with a jolt in mere seconds. This sends out a series of waves known as a wave train that radiates from the point of the rupture. The earthquake waves would produce a ripple effect similar to throwing a rock in a pond. But the waves that originated from Mammoth were long-period surface waves in which there was no large earthquake. The waves that occurred were a type of monochromatic waves. In this case, a clean zigzag that was dominated by just one type of wave that took 17 seconds to repeat. In May of this year, a magnitude 5.8 earthquake rocked the island, and it was the strongest seismic event in the island's history. But since that time, the frequency of shakes has declined in this area, leading up to the November the 11th mystery wave. Mammoth was formed from volcanism. It is the oldest volcanic island in the Comoros Basin, and yet volcanoes in the region have not erupted in over 4,000 years. There is the possibility that magmatic movement occurred offshore, but the area hasn't been studied in detail, and so the seismic waves are something new on the signals that are registered at these seismic stations. The island does appear to be shifting some 2.5 inches to the east and more than an inch to the south in the latest measurements taken by the GPS stations that are located in the area. This could suggest that magma is moving and fracturing rock as it moves upward through the crust. What took place on November the 11th caused a bit of deformation, but without the jolt that is associated with most earthquakes. The slow quake that occurred on Mammoth was similar to the movement during the most recent eruption of Kilauea, which produced nearly 60 slow seismic events between May and July, sending waves around the world. Mammoth sits in a region crisscrossed by ancient faults, including fracture zones from the final breakup of the southern supercontinent Gondwana. What's more, the underlying crust is somewhat transitional, shifting between the thick continental crusts and the thinner oceanic crusts. Perhaps this complexity drives the simplicity of the escaping waves. But the cause of the mystery waves are anyone's guess. Furthermore, it is difficult to say whether anyone's theory has any relevance to the outcome of what's going on here. Whether the cause is ordinary or extraordinary remains to be seen. But for now, it is another geological mystery. On November 30th, a Mammoth 7.0 earthquake knocked out power, splintered roads, and left cracks in buildings near Anchorage, Alaska's largest city of 300,000 residents. This was the largest seismic event in this region since the year 1964, when a mega 9.2 quake struck, becoming the most powerful earthquake on record in U.S. history. In the aftermath of the most recent earthquake, there have been 500 smaller quakes and tremors, ranging between magnitude 4 and 5.7. The magnitude 7.0 earthquake sent residents scurrying for cover when it hit on the morning of November 30th. The quake was centered 10 miles northeast of Anchorage at a depth of more than 25 miles, producing a loud noise while being felt for more than 400 miles in all directions. As it struck, roads buckled under passing cars, ceilings collapsed, and items tumbled from shelves in grocery stores and coffee shops. According to comments by long-term residents, the quake was absolutely terrifying. It was the biggest jolt felt in several decades. It was a long-duration event that seemed to get louder and louder. Closed-circuit cameras captured the earthquake as it struck.
It's okay, you're okay.
In its wake was video coverage showing the immense damage to a road near Anchorage. Authorities don't have precise figures on damage as of this time, but helicopters and drones were assessing infrastructure across the region. An unusual event took place in mid-afternoon on November 26th over Västerås, Sweden. A Skywatcher captured these amazing images of what some observers have described as an oracle, which in India is defined as a voice from the sky. If you look carefully at the anomaly, it appears to resemble a disk with expanded wings, best described as a winged globe or sun, similar to the depiction inscribed in Egyptian hieroglyphs and as displayed on Sumerian tablets. But is this anomaly a sign from the heavens, or is the explanation more down to earth? Additional images seem to show that the object above the sun is part of what's called a triple-sided sun halo, an optical phenomena that occasionally occurs in far northern latitudes this time of year. But whichever explanation makes the most sense, it was an event that sparked a great deal of interest across social media. As you look to the sky, there will be many signs to help guide you in these harrowing times. The sky is and shall be the daily bread of your eyes, for the sky is the beginning of the journey that leads you home. Thanks for watching.